Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of Yeller. I'm from the South today, guys. Yellow colored glasses. Today we have a special guest representing a local company. For her and her husband are both owners of the company. I will let her do an introduction for you guys. Miss Trisha Bach, if you want to tell us a little bit more about you guys.
Okay, so my husband Mark and I own Nova Painting here in Pleasant Hill. It's an indoor, inside and outside residential and commercial painting. We've been around since 2017. It started with Mark. He was just doing his own thing after working for someone for so many years. He went out on his own, and it just has grown like crazy over the last couple of years. So
you guys are in growth mode.
Yes, which there are growing pains that go along with that, but we are in a very good growth stage right now. We've definitely learned a lot over the last probably 9 months of that growth. Even in the last 30 days has been very enlightening. But so I came on about a year and a half ago, which is whenever I had reached out to you initially for some assistance.
Yes.
But so I'm covering more of like the business development, the sales, really just the day-to-day operations. And then Mark is out there with his crew. We have 2 crews now, which is that's part of the pain.
Yeah.
But it's just scary because you're relinquishing control, right? Like it's all about quality, right? And he's been painting for over 20 years. And so a lot of repeat business is because of his quality. And now you're like, okay, I can't be on every job.
You can't be at both locations at one time with both crews.
Right. Which is hard.
Yes,
yeah.
For sure. I get that.
So that's kind of what we're navigating right now, is how to grow slow and steady and not lose sight of what's important, which is the customer satisfaction and the quality, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, for sure. So Mark started after working. Was he a painter before?
He was. So
Okay.
We just had our 24th anniversary yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So he's been painting since we were married. So I'd say right at 25 years.
Okay.
And he had his own business in the early 2000s. And then whenever the mortgage and all of that stuff crashed, 06, 08, he ended up going to work for someone else just because it was just kind of a scary time, right? Like you're literally chasing every dollar, right? When you're a small business owner like that.
Yeah.
And it just became too
Stressful.
Yes.
I get that.
So he worked for somebody out of the Kansas City area for 10 years, which just provided stability and, just consistent work.
Yeah.
Then it got to the point, he was working every weekend on his own, right? So to do side jobs from those repeat customers from before, that he's just like, you know what, I think it's time to just go out on my own again. So he just took that leap, and it was scary, but that was 2017, and his goal was to be in business 5 years later, right?
Okay.
So not just to be in business, but to see the numbers of that we're seeing for the growth is pretty.
And you guys are
fantastic.
here. This is 5 years.
It's 5 years. Yeah, March was our 5 year.
Wow.
If I was better at social media, I would have posted that, but I'm not.
So she says social media. So that's actually how Trisha and I met. I for those of you that don't know, I also do some graphic stuff on the side.
She's pretty amazing at it too.
So that's what I was doing between my teaching job and before we started the agency. And one night at the Mexican restaurant, I can literally remember this moment.
Taco Tuesday.
I'm walking out, she's walking in, and she stops me. And so then we connect later that week. And so when she came on with Nova not full-time, I guess. Basically
full part-time.
Full part-time. That's when we started to connect more and learn more about her business. But she also is a full-time employee with Marriott.
Yes.
and runs a
health and wellness coaching.
So you're not busy at all.
I'm not.
What you're telling
no,
us.
I haven't taken on too much at all.
No.
But I think, when you and I first connected a year and a half ago, it was a matter of, you have to set yourself up for success, right? So I couldn't just quit corporate America.
Right.
I mean, that's what's our benefits are for everything, right? For our entire marriage. And so it's like just making sure that we're setting up the business for success to sustain both of us.
Right.
So we started with social media. We started with the marketing. We started just really becoming, instead of just painting, more of a professional company, right? Instead of just, I have a painting crew. So you helped us go to the next level, I guess. But at that same time, I was getting certified in all of my things. And so trying to grow. And what's funny is I say I'm not good at social media. I'm literally doing an online coaching program.
Yeah.
So everything is Instagram and Facebook.
Yes, and you even taught me stuff from that, like when we get together and talk about different things and just
macros.
It's been fun to see that side of yours as well. So back to Nova Painting. So you guys now have 2 crews. That just started,
let's call it 45 days ago.
Okay.
It's very specific.
Yeah. Because the last 30 days have been very, like I said, very enlightening. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing this right now, but to get people to come to work every day on time is a challenge, right? So we pay a pretty decent wage, I think, and flexible environment, I guess is the way to say. But we just really did burn through some people over the last. So we had a very substantial crew over the last 30 days, but then we're back down to a more manageable number.
Okay, so I have a question. You started in 2017. And then, here we are in 2022. And in 2020, like the world was turned upside down with COVID. What kind of pivots did you guys have to make with a brand new business like that?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question.
And I will say, so on the Marriott side, it was imploding, right? Think about it. Literally the faucet was turned off to travel. So my company was in complete devastation while Mark still went to work every day at 7 a.m. and came home at 3. So he provided a sense of normalcy in this that's what I tell people all the time. I felt like crazy during the day, but then he'd come home and it was just a normal day for him.
Yeah.
He didn't have all the noise of the world. He didn't have all of that. Nobody ever canceled. He had to wear a mask one time. But think about that was in March through summer. It was whenever everything was really upended. And so he was on exteriors. So it could not have happened at a better time for him, right? Because he didn't have to worry about the angst of the customers and stuff. Really, we were just talking about the other day, he wore a mask one time.
So 2020, that was also a time where people decided to take care of stuff around their homes.
Get around to all those projects.
Get around to
Still happening. Because so all of a sudden people who are 9 to 5 outside of the house are in their home all the time. And they're like, well, these cabinets look like crap.
These are terrible.
Or, oh man, our trim is really banged up. Yeah. Or just, they're all of a sudden their office looks different. And so seriously, we are exclusive with Sherwin-Williams. So we sit down and have account reviews with our rep, usually twice a year, and just going over the amount of growth that we've had in our spend with them. So 2020 was incredible. Wow. So that's when we started to see the big jump.
Okay. So at a time when some businesses were really struggling, that was kind of a thing that propelled you further.
I love that. I would have never... when you're doing exteriors in the summer, absolutely, that's a good time for that stuff. But I would never have thought for a small business how that actually boosted you guys.
Benefited you guys in many ways.
It's the weirdest thing. It balanced out. But we never were concerned about a job canceling because, again, it was exterior. And then for however it worked out, even that winter when there was still a lot of, anxiety and things happening in the world, we were on new construction. So again, nobody's even in the homes.
Oh, wow.
So we work with an amazing local home builder here in town. and so it just seemed to all work out. That year, when a lot of people were experiencing devastation, we were
half of our world interesting.
Yeah, it was, I mean, and again, we've continued to grow because people never left their homes, right? So like in 2021, businesses started asking, do you want to work remote? You know, they were giving people the opportunity to stay home or come back to the office. And most people were saying, I just want to stay home. So that's when they really started buying those stand-up desks. They started painting their offices. Yes. They started rearranging their house to accommodate maybe more than one person working remote. Mm-hmm. So it's been interesting.
You're on that as well with Marriott, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You got the opportunity to just stay home.
Which I love it.
Yeah.
My office is being remodeled as we speak. Because the painter's house is the last to get painted. We all know that, right? Like I did post our house got painted, but Mark said 3 years ago, he's like, man, we need to paint our exterior.
Yeah.
3 years.
It was taken out that.
It's gorgeous.
Was it a basement garage door or a window that you guys ended up?
When
you did your new fitness room in your house.
Yeah. So that was last winter. We knocked out part of our walkout. Well, we have a walkout ranch, and so there's a garage down there, which is more like a shed. It was massive, and we don't have that much stuff to put in there. So we tore out a wall and made a gym.
Oh, nice.
I'm so excited. It's in the process.
But that kind of pushed you guys forward to painting your own house. Because
there's a window cut out and
one domino falls and then the next one. Yeah.
But you know what
Good job, Mark. We completed the task.
No, you want to know what really catapulted it was our neighbor next door. It was time for her house to be painted. So we had a crew. So it was hey, there is no reason that this could not happen. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I have a question
too. Go for it.
I like to just pay attention to what's going on in the design world, whether it's exterior,
trends.
What trends are you guys seeing?
So lots of white and black exteriors, which look amazing.
Classic.
Yes, it looks so good. We actually just did a new construction house here in Pleasant Hill, and they did all white on the inside too, which is not normal. I think you have to have the right lifestyle for that, but it looked really good.
That would
really
not survive my 3 kids.
No.
And stay white.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how high a quality paint you get, that's eventually going to get dirty. But it looks really good. And then we're seeing a lot of shutters are coming back. So handmade shutters. So we're actually starting to make those. We never did before, but they're pretty simple. I can never remember the type that we make, but they're very simple. And so shutters, whether most of them are stained now, and we're talking like Overland Park, high-end homes that are just having us build shutters.
Is it like just the
3, like usually 3,
oops.
3, I think like 3 pieces of wood, and then you do like 2, like board and batten.
Not shaker, what?
No, it's like board and
I don't know. Idea.
There's a word.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah.
Our last house had those.
Yeah. It looks really
shutters.
good.
Yeah.
We've done that on 2 houses now, and then there's another one that we're getting ready to do.
Very
so
nice.
It's just, and again, it's something that we had never really done before because it wasn't a trend.
Yeah.
And now it's like, hey, can you build shutters? Sure.
Sure we can.
And they're cheaper than buying them at Lowe's or something.
This kind of leads into what I was going to ask at the very end as a fun question, but it leads right into it. What color? So Sherwin-Williams is who you guys use. What color is your number 1 color that gets requested?
Right now, iron ore is the number 1 trim color.
Iron ore.
Which is the color that we painted our front door. So it's a dark without being black. It is so very pretty. We actually just painted a whole house that color. That's a lot.
It's deep. Yeah.
But it's a lot of like Dorian gray. It's all gray. It's middle gray.
I feel like Dorian gray might be what's in my house. Maybe not.
It's our whole house is one color strip. It's just a variation
From top to bottom.
It really is.
Go.
But iron ore is definitely a very popular color right now.
And people are painting their trim dark colors. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and then if it's lighter color, it's usually like alabaster or something like that. But that's not very exciting. Trim color is not that exciting, but
it's not super sexy.
No. But it's I will say, so I'm getting more and more into the bidding part of it. So I answer the phones, I schedule everything, I do the invoices, I do, because we have a variety of customers. It's not just residential customers. We have design consultants, we have color consultants, which a color consultant is the coolest job. She actually did our house.
I kind of just want to come hang out with her one day.
Oh, she is so amazing.
So if insurance doesn't work out, do you need like a second color consultant? Yes. That sounds like a super fun job.
Oh my gosh, she is amazing. She actually did a virtual color consultant for our house because she lives in Overland Park.
Right.
We're outside of her service area. So I just held up a piece of paper to my rock. My biggest thing was I didn't want the rock to, we went from a tan house to a gray house, and I didn't want that rock to look bad next to the house.
Absolutely.
So she had me put a piece of white paper, take a picture of my neighbors' houses so you don't clash. Like, she just told me to take some pictures, and she did that. Like, that's what she pulled out of that. Yeah.
That is so fun. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so we have kind of a mixture, right? And so we get trends from all of them, but I coordinate the bids, the invoices, I do all that stuff, and then pretty much just customer relations, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Because we've all called a tradesman, right? And they're the ones, I mean, before I started doing it, Mark's on a ladder, he's spraying a house, and he's answering the phone.
Yeah.
You know, or
maybe not the safest choice.
Or right. Oh, if we're talking to our insurance people, never mind.
Workers' comp claim coming.
Never mind.
No,
retract.
I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything.
No, so he'd say, "Oh, you know, I'm in the middle of a job. Can you call me back, or can you text me?" Like, it was just very. I don't know how
a lot
he kept
to balance.
track of it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So now
it's not like he's keeping pen and paper
right
on the ladder with him to track all of this.
And I don't know if you have ever met Mark. He does not remember names, and he does not. I mean, so he even the other day he's like, "Hey, some older guy called today, and he's supposed to text me his number." I'm like, "But did he?" I mean, I'm like, just go back through your call log, like just give it to me.
Find the number.
Yeah.
Like,
so
oh my gosh.
It's funny because Mark, he doesn't even pass out his own cards anymore. He just passes out mine. So everything gets routed to me.
Yeah.
Which is probably more beneficial in the long term.
For both sides, right? Because Mark would get frazzled, you know, trying to make sure that he passes the information along to me, and because we don't want to drop the ball, right?
Right.
And one thing that we hear from customers is we call back, right? So there's a lot of people out there that they're doing what Mark did years prior, right? They're just hustling, trying to get through to the next job.
Yeah.
And they say they're going to come provide a bid, they never come out, or they come out and look at it and then never actually send a bid.
Never follow up.
Right. And so I feel their pain. I understand where they're coming from. I mean, there's some people who just, you know, you're drinking out of a fire hose, right? At some time. Trust me, and exterior season is winding down. Our guys are tired, but we're trying to beat weather like today.
Yeah. Keep on track. You've actually had a really, knock on wood, but a really good summer and fall as far as rain goes.
Yes,
Like
usually there's 2 weeks
Yeah.
throughout the summer, and we try to time that whenever we go on vacation, but it doesn't always work out. But we have lucked out. However, you know, when it's hot, they work early in the morning to try to wrap up. And but we have, I mean, we're booked through January at this point.
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, but it's not for the people who are like, hey, we have a, you know, can you do something in 3 weeks? I'm like, yeah, no, not really.
No,
but we are building a network to where we can refer people because we don't want to just say no, right? So I actually just had an example today where there was a new construction just south of town, and we bid it, and by the time we looked at it on our schedule and they accepted our bid, I was like, we actually can't take it. Like, we cannot fit you in this year.
Right.
And so, but I provided a solution before I even told him that. I was like, I'm connecting you with this company, and he's agreed to the same terms, and I'm just going to connect the two of you, and good luck with your home.
So I love that you say that, because we always, with a problem, so even with your insurance, your personal insurance, your rates went up. Before I even contacted you, it was like, hey, here's our solution. This is all that you have to do.
Yes.
And it was taken care of. And so that's the same type of thing that we strive on, even in the insurance industry, is before we call somebody with a problem, let's figure out how can we solve this problem? How can we help them without stressing them out on the back end? So I love that you said you had all of that taken care of.
I've been on the receiving end, right? So instead of saying, oh, I'm sorry, here's, you had this plan and now I can't follow through. So
I love that.
It made it a smooth transition today.
So I think there's a lesson in there as well of kind of knowing what your limits are. I think sometimes as a self-employed person, there's a temptation to want to take as much as you can, because you never know when the next one's going to come. And it doesn't sound like you guys are in that position now, but
not anymore.
I think that sometimes you have to understand, you know, if I take on more now, these other projects I'm working on suffer.
Yep.
And so quality, it's a balancing act of, you know, quality and quantity.
I just heard a good quote today, and I cannot remember how to say the doctor's name, but he said you have to learn, you know, we're all taught that you have to learn how to say no to things you don't want to do, right?
Right.
Well, you also have to learn how to say no to things you want to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're getting. So even in the Nova painting world, we have to say no sometimes, even though we want to help that customer out. We know that they're in a pinch. But what's that going to do to, I mean, Mark is crabby on day 20. I don't blame him. He is so tired. You know, everybody deserves a break, and you shouldn't work. Like, we don't have to work that hard, right? He makes a good living. We support 7 other people, and they, you know, their income is dependent on us. And I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
Is to always make sure we have work for other people, because that's how they support their families.
Sure.
But it's the same thing like with my nutrition coaching business. Yeah, with Elevate. I mean, I had to pump the brakes, because guess what? I want to help transform lives. I absolutely love it. It's my true passion. But I can't do it well if I take on too many clients. So I've actually had to say, you know, I can't take on any, and which just kills me, because here's somebody who's like, hey, please help me. And I'm like, I can't.
I had to do the same thing when we opened the agency with Impact. I had to be like, okay.
Right.
Everybody that I have, I will still do everything I need to do, but I can't take on any more new clients at this point. And so it's, you want to, everybody that contacts, it's like, I want to, but I'm sorry, I just can't.
I know, which is hard. That is a skill I'm learning to flex right now, because it's not, I think, you know, we're in this industry where we're people, right? But we're people pleasers too, right? So it's a matter of, you know, it's not coming from a place of, you know, disrespect or anything. It's just there's a balance in our own life that we have to maintain.
So, greatest success and biggest challenge. What would you say for each of those?
That's a good question.
Deep question.
Oh my
That's
God.
a deep question.
My espresso's only half.
You
drink,
take a drink.
Because I was telling you earlier, I do run on espresso at this point in my life. But okay, so biggest success. Was that the question?
Biggest success.
I would say we just purchased our second van, right?
Okay.
So a year and a half ago, when I made the commitment to come on with Nova, we knew that to sustain the salary, we have to have 2 crews. 2 crews means 2 vans. 2 crews means 2 of everything, right?
Right.
Which is expensive, and we don't like debt. So we had to be in a position to where we could do it in a financially responsible way. So we bought a van at the beginning of September. That was a huge, just pat on the back. I mean, that was like, holy crap, we made it.
When we talked originally, your goal was to be able to buy a second van.
Yes.
And you've done it.
We did it.
That's so excited.
And we've been looking for months. And of course, everybody's buying new vans apparently. So they're like $20,000 more than what they should be. Not even kidding you.
That is shocking.
And Mark's like, I'm not doing that. There's no way I'm paying that. And so he kind of waited. I mean, it's just a lot of research, right? And finding the right one. So we had to drive a few hours, but it worked out. So I would say that's our biggest milestone for success is the second van, which means we are really trying to manage 2 crews, like having 2 jobs going on at the same time. And then the biggest challenge? Staffing. It really is the biggest. So we have an amazing crew. It's taken a long time. We're not there yet, but we have Michael, who is our foreman. And honestly, he comes from the law enforcement. He used to be a painter, went to law enforcement, and I was networking. I was at my daughter's volleyball game. I'm like, does anybody here know how to paint? Does anybody want to paint?
I had no idea that he was a painter before the sheriff's department.
Yeah,
I had no
so
idea.
years ago, and his uncle owns a painting business in southeastern Missouri or something. Yeah. Down somewhere in Missouri. So he has experience from when he was younger.
Okay.
So
And you literally just asked.
I did.
I love that.
I did. Because that's how, because it's been a challenge. And we want to have people that we know and we trust, right?
Absolutely.
And so he came on with us about 1.5 years ago. So that has been fantastic. And then another guy, you know, like he used to paint cars. And I'm like, well, you have a skill. We're just going to translate that over to houses. And obviously there's different product applications and stuff, but you know, he's detailed, which is important. So
yeah, I think anybody, you and I had this conversation the other day, anybody in the blue collar industry is struggling to get workers that actually show up and actually want to do the job.
And what we're finding, I mean, there's union, right, which has, I guess, some great benefits. Mark tried that for 9 months. He's like, yeah, that is not for me. It is for people, but it's not for him. So I think that's actually, we're losing a lot of people to union because it's guaranteed work. I mean, it's not guaranteed work, but there's opportunity and benefits. So it is hard. And then you're trying to find people who, again, that want to show up every day on time, that have transportation, that
they take ownership over their job.
Yeah, and one thing that we really try to, I guess the message whenever we're interviewing people is that, you know, there's going to be opportunity for growth, right? So as our company gets bigger, we have to really have people that we trust. So just because you're coming in at this level right here or at this pay doesn't mean that you're going to be there forever.
Right.
So there is room for growth. It's just finding the right people.
Finding the right people. Okay, so we have been closing out the girls have, Michaela and I have, every client with an off-the-wall question, like debatable question, not politics. We're not going there, but like a debatable question. Do you have one? Do you have like a?
I did, and it just escaped my brain.
You're gonna remember it as soon as it's over.
I know. Oh, okay. Well, this one's just really basic, but
I like it.
I like basic.
I'm a big fan of ice cream. I have very strong feelings about it, though.
I love ice cream.
Are you a chocolate or vanilla ice cream person?
Oh, vanilla.
Vanilla, that's the right answer.
I'm vanilla.
She answered wisely.
But I really like, what is it? I always get it wrong. Neapolitan. Neapolitan.
No.
Only because you can just go out of the strawberry. You can go out of the. But then sometimes if I'm feeling spicy, I'll just go all the way across and get all three.
Yeah. I do like that you have multiple methods for eating that, though.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's ice cream. That's one thing I tell you, like with my health business, my nutrition business, people think they can't have that kind of stuff, and I'm like,
oh heck yes you can.
You must enjoy things in life.
You just have to be able to limit.
Right, it's all in moderation.
Yep.
Just like alcohol, right? It's in moderation.
Everything in moderation.
Unless it's at the golf tournament. No, just kidding.
I thought the camera cut out. Sorry.
I don't know what she's talking about.
No. Unless it's the golf tournament and you're providing to.
Nova Painting did sponsor a hole, so I mean, I'm speaking from that piece of it. Yeah, not from you guys, but from Nova Painting.
That's hilarious. All right, Trisha, thank you for joining us. Nova Painting, her husband Mark is the lead for, he's the owner.
Yeah.
And it sounds like if you're needing
co-owners. So
you're needing painting after January, right?
Right. Well, but call now because we are booking. So we already have, I think, 4 exteriors on the books for next spring.
Wow.
So really, we
call now.
Yeah, call now.
For next
I feel like we're doing an infomercial, but
at Nova Painting KC on social media.
Yep.
You can find on Facebook and Instagram.
Right, and we have a website, novapaintingkc.com. But really, it all comes to me. So
call Trisha.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Of course. Thank you.
It was fun.
All right. Closing out and cut.